Welcome to National Liberty Alliance's weekly call. Today is Monday, December 8th, 2025. We broadcast live every Monday from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're listening over Rumble or YouTube and you would like to ask a question or make a comment, you can go to nationallibertyalliance.org and click on our weekly call for instructions to join us by phone, app, or browser. If anybody would like to email a question, you can send your questions to questions, that's plural, questions at nationallibertyalliance.org. Please support our business partners. You can find their banners on the right side of our website, of which the proceeds go to support NLA's effort to save our republic. Also, please support NLA by donating $5 a month or more. Click on our donation tab on the top right side of our website. Okay, we're going to pick up on our scripture reading where we left off last week. We're in the first book of Corinthians, chapter 3, read by Alexander Scorby.
Chapter 3. And I, brethren, could not speak unto you as unto spiritual, but as unto carnal, even as unto babes in Christ. I have fed you with milk, and not with meat. For hitherto ye were not able to bear it, neither yet now are ye able, for ye are yet carnal. For whereas there is among you envying and strife and divisions, are ye not carnal, and walk as men? For while one saith, I am of Paul, and another, I am of Apollos, are ye not carnal? Who then is Paul, and who is Apollos, but ministers by whom ye believed, even as the Lord gave to every man? I have planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the increase. So then, neither is he that planteth anything, neither he that watereth, but God that giveth the increase. Now he that planteth and he that watereth are one, and every man shall receive his own reward according to his own labor. For we are laborers together with God. Ye are God's husbandry, ye are God's building. According to the grace of God which is given unto me as a wise master builder, I have laid the foundation, and another buildeth thereon. But let every man take heed how he buildeth thereupon. For other foundation can no man lay than that is laid, which is Jesus Christ. Now, if any man build upon this foundation, gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, stubble, every man's work shall be made manifest, for the day shall declare it, because it shall be revealed by fire. And the fire shall try every man's work of what sort it is. If any man's work abide, which he hath built thereupon, he shall receive a reward. If any man's work shall be burned, he shall suffer loss, but he himself shall be saved, yet so as by fire. Know ye not that ye are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you? If any man defile the temple of God, him shall God destroy, for the temple of God is holy, which temple ye are. Let no man deceive himself. If any man among you seemeth to be wise in this world, let him become a fool, that he may be wise. For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with God. For it is written, He taketh the wise in their own craftiness. And again, the Lord knoweth the thoughts of the wise, that they are vain. Therefore let no man glory in men, for all things are yours, whether Paul or Apollos or Cephas or the world, or life or death, or things present or things to come. All are yours, and ye are Christ's, and Christ is God's.
Okay, Jen, do we have any questions tonight?
We have absolutely no questions, but I know we have some people that are probably in the queue now that had some questions, said they were coming tonight. So take it from there.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, the queue is open. Anybody wants to get into the queue, if you're coming in on a phone, it's a *6 and a 1 to get into the queue. And if you're on an app or a browser, should be a button. So, again, the queue's open. Right, we have one person in right now. Maybe we'll get a couple more before we get started. A couple of things. I've been working with a sheriff a little bit, or a person running to become a sheriff, actually, down in the southeast here. And he's doing a paper going before the United States Supreme Court. And I'm kind of working with him to add some papers also with his papers. He asked if I wanted to try to do that. We had sent a paper to the Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court, which they denied. The doorkeepers throw our papers out. They don't want to hear it. We were coming in kind of strong. It was concerning the Rules Enabling Act, which will really put the entire federal district court into freefall if they were to hear that case. It's treason at the highest level. They've closed down all of our courts of justice. They don't exist. And that's treason at the highest level. And they've been closed down for quite some time. The Rules Enabling Act was in 1934, and the rules of the United States Supreme Court, written by the Traitorous Bar Association, came into power in 1938, and it abrogated the common law, and it put together civil law and common law, so they claim. They think common law has something to do with trial court decisions, which nothing could be further from the truth, of course, and nothing could be more destructive to our courts than trial court decisions. I mean, they are seriously defunct. They've been so for quite some time. So to use that as some kind of law, and they do apply it as law, and in the process of abrogating the common law, at least from their perspective, so they've shut the doors of justice. You can't get into a court of common law anymore. They haven't been able to do so for quite some time. We've been trying for years, and we've been building a case to prove that there is a conspiracy, because the way they deal with anybody trying to get into the courts, they deal with us in the same fashion, whether, again, it's in California, Texas, New Hampshire, New York, New Jersey, Montana, doesn't matter. All the federal courts do the same thing. They've shut the doors of justice down. Anyway, the leading papers that we had sent in really led with the point that this deals with treason. And maybe there was a lot for them to grasp, what to think about, or even to consider. I think it was a powerful paper. So again, we're going to try to get it in. I may rewrite it a little bit differently, but we're going to try to get it in. But I've been thinking, not too long ago, I've come to realize that we're probably better off using the phrase natural law instead of common law. Because you can't get through these thick-headed bar attorneys what common law actually is. They truly believe, they absolutely, truly believe that we are under Roman law, which is civil law, the law of the cities, which finds its beginnings in Babylon. It's to control the people, also called, municipality law or municipal law, and this is what has been plaguing our courts. But when you have a conversation with these lawyers, or you try to make a position, they just can't get it through their thick skulls. They refuse to look into it because they think they know it all. They think that people who approach the courts or the system in the way we do, they think that we're lost. They think that we're crazy. They think that we're making this stuff up, when in fact their entire education has been made up. They've also changed, in the process of changing the law, they've also changed the rules of law, whether it be civil law, criminal law, or common law. In common law, there's just one court. It could be a criminal case, it could be a civil case, but it's just one court. They've actually opened up courts called criminal courts, criminal law. But in any event, they got rid of the rules of common law. And the rules of common law, to be as simple as possible to express what exactly the rules of common law is, it's just a series of maxims. Ultimately, it is common sense. That's the law of the heart, and applied upon common sense. But they got rid of that too. That's no longer available. So anyway, not too long ago, I realized that I've been making this argument wrong with these people because they don't understand what we're talking about. Neither do they want to even go look. They just cut it off, and that's that. No consideration at all. But in any event, I think the key to the argument is no longer using the phrase common law, but using the phrase natural law, the laws of nature and of nature's God, as written in the Declaration of Independence, which is really the foundation of American law, and is supported and protected by the Constitution, called law, L-A-W. If you go into Black's Law Dictionary or Bovier's Dictionary, you will find, well, Black's Law particularly anyway, I went through that book trying to discover all the different jurisdictions, and I've discovered that there are 51 jurisdictions in the Black's Law Dictionary. And I could be off one way or the other with a few, but that was my count. And all but one is called law, L-A-W. And when you look up the meaning of law, it's that which proceeds according to the common law, in other words, natural law. And that's the law of the land. So anyway, I'm thinking of maybe doing another case to send to the Supreme Court. I'm going to be working with this guy running for sheriff and put our last case that we filed with them to try to get it in there with his case. But I'd like to do another one really built upon the Declaration of Independence interpretation of the law and how it has been subverted. But in order to do that, it costs money. So if we can get enough money up to do this, we'll do this. We don't need a lot of money. If we can get up $1,000, $1,500, that's plenty enough money to do what we want to do. So it's mostly paper and filing. And when you file into the Supreme Court, I think it's 10 copies you have to have. I forget exactly. I'll have to take a look at that. But in any event, so tonight I'm asking for people if they want to hopefully support this particular project to put this into the courts. I can probably write the paper in a week, probably just a few days, as a matter of fact. Maybe I can write it up before next Monday and read it out, but I'm not going to take it serious at the moment until we collect some funds to be able to proceed with this project. So again, if anybody is interested, and I should imagine everybody should be interested in helping us, hit our donation button. And when you make a donation, you can put a little note in there saying this is for the U.S. Supreme Court case in order to win back our courts of justice. I don't know how much Trump understands of this. We've sent presentments to him and all of his people in his administration, as a matter of fact, concerning these problems, particularly with the Rules Enabling Act, the subversion by the Bar Association, the abrogation of the law of the land, by the shutting of the doors of justice. And so we've sent him numerous papers over the past, 2 years maybe. Or, no, actually, what am I saying, 2 years? In the past year, because really we started sending it as soon as he came into power again as the president, and once his administration was put together, we started sending to everybody. But anyway, hopefully we'll get some support for this project, and we'll go do it. Okay, with that, let me see if I have anything else to bring up before we get started. Again, the queue is open, *6 and 1 if you're on a phone. Apple browser should be a button. Also, I created a couple of communities on X. Hopefully people will be interested in going out there, checking it out, and maybe joining as a member of those two communities and helping support to try to get people to come to these the information that we have to share. The key to our success is going to be with critical mass. We have not reached critical mass. Critical mass is something that will happen, very quickly when a nerve is struck, a particular item or a situation, goes viral, and that people jump on board on that, that's what's going to bring us critical mass. So anybody that's on X, I should hope, or anybody that's not on X, maybe you can join X. Hopefully you can get on there and support the two communities I created. You can find me at John. How'd they come in here? NLA Darash. So that's NLA Darash, DARASH, at National Liberty Alliance. And the two communities I created is Government by Consent, trying to get conversations on government by consent, and another community, the Bible Only. So again, hopefully people will come support us, and we'll see where we go, see if we can't get enough, focus on what we're doing to push us towards that critical mass. It's been a while since I looked to see how many members we have. I don't check it too often. You can find it on the right-hand side of our website. So I'm looking for it right now. Anybody that's watching the desktop, they'll see, yeah. We have 11,854 members. And, we need a few 100,000, 500,000 to really, really kick this projects off that we have. We have lots of projects. We have the Sheriff's projects, of course. And our main focus is government by consent, teaching people how to have government by consent. People don't know how to have government by consent. They need to be taught how to have government by consent. They haven't got a clue whatsoever. To be honest, I didn't have any either until I started doing my research to understand how to really have government by consent, how we can have a lot more control and authority over those people that we put into office. But people don't know how to do that. But it takes, people working in the community at the grassroots level. We're building committees of safety. At the grassroots level, we have 3,134, counties, and we need to get, I don't know, if we can get maybe 60 or 70% of those counties going, and maybe be able to get 50, 100 people in those particular counties. That's all it would take to take back the control of this nation. We don't have government by the majority. We have government by the majority that participates. With that kind of number of people, we can take back our political process. We can take back our judicial process. We can require them to be obedient to the common law, the will of the people. And we can bring them into submission. But right now, we have a democracy running. And no republic can survive a democracy, at least not any natural law republic, will never be supported or be able to go forward with a democracy. When you have a two-party system, and people think we can't survive outside of a two-party system, have no clue on what that kind of logic is. Because when you really think out the problem is the party system. The problem is that a party acts under the will of one person or one small group of people. And they subvert everything. They prevent anything good from going on. They prevent, the legislators alone, particularly. They just don't do their job. They don't put that forward which is logical. And that which makes sense, and that which would really empower our nation and the people. They're not interested in that. They're interested in themselves. Most people, I'm absolutely convinced, with the experience I have at this point in time, absolutely convinced. I don't want to say a percentage, but a huge percentage, far, far past 50%, of the people in power and authority are sociopaths or psychopaths. Absolutely convinced of that. They're all self-focused, and they couldn't care anything about you or me or anything that benefits us, only their pockets. And only the people can stop this. I mean, Trump's doing a great job. He might be able to get a lot accomplished, but he's not going to solve the problem in the long run, because we'll be back here again if the people don't take control of their government and maintain government by the consent of the people, which is what we're supposed to have. We need to get rid of the Bar Association. They're guilty of treason. They're the ones that are behind this whole thing. They're the ones that have subverted our political process, our judicial process, our education. I mean, anything that is good, that gives us power and authority to the people, anything that does the right thing and gives us morals, they destroy. Everything they destroy. And it's an uphill battle. But only the people can make this ultimate change. And it starts off right now from what we're doing here at National Liberty Alliance. And we need to wake up this Supreme Court. They've been putting a lot of great stuff out. They've been supporting Trump because Trump is constitutional. We got three morons up there that I don't know what cloud they're on or what, they believe in everything and anything but the Constitution. They have no concern for who we are as a people, the fact that we're a Christian nation, the fact that we're under natural law, and the fact that they're supposed to be obedient to the Constitution. These three particular judges that I'm talking about, they need to be impeached. Actually, they need to be hung, in my opinion. A lot of the ways they're trying to move this nation is just insane. But thankfully, the majority of them are in good shape, and we have been getting a lot of good rulings. They have been supporting the constitutional issues that Trump has brought up to the Supreme Court. So maybe we have an opportunity to make a change. Maybe they realize that it is the time to make the change. They know the problem to some degree. They already know it. They don't talk about it, and they don't think about it until someone like us brings it to their attention and makes them to think about it. The big problem we have trying to get to the Supreme Court is the doorkeepers, the enemy of we the people, the enemy of our natural law republic, the enemy of the Constitution. These are the people, and they may not even realize they're the enemy. Most of these people, they've just been taught to lie from the very beginning. They went to school, they didn't learn civics, they didn't learn the Constitution, they didn't understand anything about the Bill of Rights. They don't know American history, they don't realize we're a Christian nation. And I'm serious about every point I just said. They don't, 90%, maybe more than that, they have no clue of these things, and they don't. And they've been taught to lie. They've been taught that we're under Roman law. And they were taught that common law, like I said earlier, is trial court decisions, which are the worst decisions ever. I mean, these courts are just so far off base. They only step up for things and push forward things that are destructive, things that are immoral. Nothing that is good for the people. Okay, anyway, with that, hopefully people will think about this and throw a few dollars in, give us some money to be able to do another case. And we'll see where we go from there. But we need your support. Everybody should be giving us $5 a month or more if you can afford it. Everybody can afford $5 a month. That's a cup of coffee and a bagel or something, Once a month, give up a cup of coffee and a bagel and send the $5 to us. And support the movement we have going here where we're trying to get back government by consent. Okay, with that, let's take our first call. We have 2 people in the queue. We can use more. So anybody else wants to get into the queue, if you're on a phone, *6 and a 1. If you're on a browser or an app, there should be a button there. Okay, first person, it looks like, is that Frank? Looks like Frank, I'm not sure the name. You should have been unmuted by now. Let's see. I'll unmute you directly. Okay, your mic is open. What state you're from? What state you're from?
Thanks. How you, John?
Good. Could you lower your speaker? Getting some feedback or something in the background there.
I could try changing the volume down a little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
So, by the way, I might be moving to Warren County up here in the Adirondacks.
Okay.
So, but I wanted to, I'll give you guys money. I'll do a donation. I'll probably do like $100. But aside from that, I wanted to either share, I could email Jan what I went through with my property tax appeal and how really, and you guys know this already, in New Jersey it says it's not about the tax, it's about the assessment, and they use that assessment value and they apply the rate and they get their tax. Well, what happened was it wasn't about the assessment because the assessment was way off. It's about that they want. Let's just use this as a number. They want $5,000 from Frank. They need to get $5,000 out of Frank for the budget and all these people. So let's make his house worth, $200,000 and apply a 2.5%, rate. So we get our $5,000, but let's make it worth $200,000, even though it's really worth $150,000. And they came up with these bogus comps. And here I am in Monmouth County, and I'm fighting it, and I'm showing the market data, how they upped my house 30%. And the bottom line is 3-4 years ago, I had done a property tax appeal, and I knocked them down, and now they were playing catch up. And everybody I talk to that goes through this say, oh yeah, you appeal, and if it goes your way for a couple of years, they let you go, and then all of a sudden they shoot you back up again. And to me, this is like a RICO thing because it's done all over the state. It violates the state constitution because it's not about the assessment. It's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be about the tax. So I just thought I'd put that out there, and I know there's other projects we need to work on, but I think we would get a lot more people involved if somehow we can use a property tax abuse that we're all going through to get more people involved, and then they'll be able to eat the chunkier stuff like the common law, the grand juries, and all that stuff. But I just wanted to share that with you guys.
Yeah.
Hey, quick note. It might have been Jeff that sent this information to us mail at NLA. But are you familiar with Mitch Wexler?
No.
Okay, Mitch Wexler. He's already got this, and he pops up here and there. He's talking to, they call her the money chick. She used to be on Kitco, I think. What's her name? Cambiona. A comely blonde woman. She's been doing it for years. We have what do we have? We have a link to USA Watchdog. She used to do shows with that fella, Daniela Cambiona or something. Anyway, she interviewed him lately. And I say lately, it might have been a few months by now. But besides her, he's got a whole program. He's a developer, and then he discovered the property tax scheme. And he's got them the way NLA and the Unified United States Common Law Grand Jury has, well, the Unified United States Common Law Grand Jury has the judiciary at every level just dead to rights. With the paperwork over the years, we've got them nailed. There is no escape except for the criminals are running the show. But he's got them pinned down too. He's got them bound really tightly. Check him out. He's got the whole scam, the whole scheme. And one thing he said with his Daniela, which is something John had said years ago, is because they mail this stuff according to U.S. code. This is mail fraud. That's one of the things one of the angles that he's using among many others. So check him out because whoever sent that to us, and it might have been Jeff, our friend from Pennsylvania. He's got a really good program, and the whole thing, top to bottom, is a scam. But we're not the only ones who are working on it. Check out Mitch Wexler again. Maybe we can support him and perhaps maybe even talk with him, although I don't know if it's even necessary.
But he's part of NLA, and we have his email, right?
No. I don't think he knows. The fellow that introduced him to us I think it's Jeff from Pennsylvania. He's been in the prayer group for a number of years, if it's the same Jeff, and I believe it is. But no, I don't think Mitch Wexler has anything to do with us whatsoever. But a few of us have noticed his work, and it's very impressive. And like I said, he's got them dead to rights. He's got them nailed real good.
Eric, is it Vesler? Vesler? Victor, Elephant, Sam?
Mitch Vexler, I believe it's VEX as in I am vexed. Mitch VEXLER. You'll find him on YouTube. You'll find him doing interviews.
Okay.
Yeah, check him out. If we're not going to be if we're not going to team up with him, which I don't know if it's even necessary, we can still use his material. But it's really good stuff. It's exciting. He's taking it to the courts, and that's maybe where we might intersect with him. Let him know that, and maybe he's already figured it out. He's not going to get any justice there. He's not going to get anything there. But maybe, what do I know? Perhaps I'm just pessimistic.
A lot of the problems are we have people reinventing the wheel and duplicating, and we're not communicating. So I'll reach out to them. And then I just want to ask, are you guys doing anything with Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk, and the young people, and introducing them to, what we're doing, the common law grand juries and all of this, or nothing like that?
I don't know. I yield to John. I yield in general.
Yeah, I haven't made any connection. It is a good idea. It's interesting. Maybe we should do that. Let's make a connection with Turning Point to see what's going to be interesting.
Do you guys have my phone number, John? Let me give you my phone number if there's anything I could do to help. I have a guy here. His name is Zachary. He's in New Jersey with Turning Point, and I'm going to try to work with him. But
all right, why don't you send me an email? Okay, send it to mail. Put in it. Just put on the subject matter Turning Point. Okay, send it to mail at nationallibertyalliance.org. And make sure you have your phone number in there. I'll give you a call during the week sometime.
All right, John.
Okay.
Thanks.
And then we'll talk some more about that. But meanwhile, I'm getting a lot of feedback in the back, so I'm muting you for right now. I'm going to unmute you as soon as I'm done talking. But we know, I'm sure you know maybe that, the tax on property is a direct tax. And direct tax is clearly forbidden in the Constitution. Not that they care. Not that they even understand. Not that they even know. I mean, that's how bad it is. These people are as dumb as a box of rocks. And they really don't care about anyone. But it's a violation. It's a constitutional violation. And the destruction that direct tax has done upon the people is so huge. I mean, it's been going on for over 100 years, and so it's a real big problem. I do think that Trump knows and understands this. Look at Britain is a problem, and they're behind a lot of this thing with the taxes and the direct tax as far as the taxes on property. If you're taxed on property and, you bought something, you pay tax on it, and if they continue to tax you every year, okay, well, then you don't own your property, do you? You're renting it or whatever it is that they think that's going on. But pretty much that's what they've got. They're letting you use the property, I mean, that seems to be their perspective. But, we could do something on the direct tax, maybe going into the United States Supreme Court. And again, I don't know where it'll go, but it'll build a record. Again, more points showing that there is a conspiracy and a problem. I know that Trump is looking to get rid of, he's been putting little bits of information out here and there. He's looking to get rid of just the income tax alone, okay? That, again, is a direct tax. It's unconstitutional. It's unlawful. It's against the law to tax food, okay? New York here, they got really sneaky. And what they're doing here in New York, when you go into the supermarket and buy food, every bag you get, they charge you a nickel, okay? That's how they started off. They started off with a nickel. Well, that's a tax. I mean, what are they doing charging on a paper bag? They're really trying to charge a tax on food. And some of the food they do charge a tax on. Usually the food that's in a grocery store that maybe is pre-made food, they'll try to get tax on that. They moved that tax up from the nickel to 10 cents. And then recently, they not only took charging you 10 cents a bag, a paper bag, they tax the 10 cents for the paper bag. I mean, they just don't stop, okay? I know in Pennsylvania there's no tax on clothes. And that should be, and I don't know what other states are like that, but all states should be the same thing. There's no sales tax on clothes in Pennsylvania. There shouldn't be sales tax on clothes any state. And same thing with food. Food and, those taxes, on a purchasing tax, that's a lawful tax, and you can avoid that tax. If you can't avoid the tax, then it's unlawful. And certainly you can't avoid tax on food, you can't avoid tax on clothes, you can't avoid tax on your property, you can't avoid tax on your income. So all of that is unlawful. Again, it's a constitutional violation, rightly on the direct tax statement in the Constitution. I don't know, are you thinking, you thinking, let me unmute you for a minute so you can answer this and say whatever you want concerning this. Are you thinking of doing something in the courts? Let me unmute you.
Yeah, well, I wanted to do an injunction. I was talking to Jack Citarelli, who ran for governor, and his thing was that, well, if he won, he was going to reappoint some New Jersey Supreme Court justices, because what happened is they ruled that the low-income housing, and again, this is not so much the property tax, it was the low-income housing that they're using, was constitutional, and that started with a town where there were blacks, and unfortunately, a lot of areas where some blacks live, and it's not just blacks, but in this particular case, it was our brothers and sisters that are black. The houses weren't in upkeep, and the town tried to zone them out. So they used that to build a case of low-income housing, and the problem is, in our areas where we still have farms and it's nice in New Jersey, they're putting up these 2- and 3-story apartments, which is it's obtuse. It's disgusting. We're not used to that, but they're packing and ripping up open space and packing all these high-density housings, and this is gerrymandering. It's having a gerrymandering effect. So I wanted to do an injunction, but I don't know how that would work because it already went to the New Jersey Supreme Court. But on the property tax, I'm trying to look up all the discussions in the 1800s regarding property tax, and I know I'm going to find somebody back then saying, that it's not meant to be what it is now, and I'm going to say, well, now this law and this property tax that you have now is effectively violating what the intention is. And if I show like what happened with me, that's all about getting the amount of money out of you, and there's no check and balance, because if I go to a budget meeting, they're not going to listen to me. I figure I could show damage and harm and get an injunction or build a case. But I'd rather help you guys with your cases that you guys are working much longer on, but really this property tax thing is hurting us.
Okay, another quick note. Vexler makes the point that it's got nothing to do with the assessment at all. They draw up a budget for the things that they want to do, whatever that means, however criminal or sociopathic they might be, and they meet the budget. They don't care about your property or the assessment. It's all a bunch of caca. And I yield.
Okay.
All right, well, if you do decide to do something lawfully, I don't know, have you taken our course? We have a course under Education Starts Here, and it's called Court Access and the Common Law.
What's it called again, John?
Court Access and the Common Law course. You're on a computer. Are you seeing my desktop?
Yeah, I'm on the website, and I took over the years some of your...
Is there a radio in the background
on? I'm on my computer. I'm on your website, and I have taken over the years, some of the courses.
Right, but this is a law course. We're teaching people how to go into the courts, how to file papers. We do an anonymous court case. We do the whole process of due process. And for anybody interested, anybody's going to go into the courts if they want to learn. This is the course to take. In my opinion, it's more superior than the law course you did in college or with the bar, the bar school taught stuff. But in any event, it's under education starts here. Anybody interested? And you can read through this page, and we do give the first. Each one of these sessions are 3 hours long, or about 3 hours long. The course total is about 90 hours, and we give the first session for free, for people to see and get a feeling on how this course is running. And so it's about 3 hours, so you can go here and you can click on this button here at the bottom, towards the bottom of the page, and, shall I say, the third way down. Again, you'll get that for free to take a look, to see, and if you think this is a course you want to take, then of course you can join the course. We only charge $125 for the course, and it's to be available indefinitely. Once you pay access in, you'll be able to get access to this anytime you want, and you can download everything off of our website. But we also have a list of all of the things we covered below it, broken down into each chapter. We have the introduction, chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. And so we teach people how to go through the process. So if you're going to go in a court and you haven't taken a course, or you're not sure, you really need to take this kind of a course to do so. But the case you had mentioned, the New Jersey Supreme Court, is that the court you're thinking potentially to try to reach?
Well, the problem with the New Jersey Supreme Court is it's stacked. I mean, I think I have to go through them before go through the appeal.
This is a constitutional issue. The lower courts can't answer or can't respond. When I'm talking, let me just mute you because I'm getting all this in the background. Hang on a second. They can't hear the case because it's a constitutional issue. The jurisdiction is the United States Supreme Court. It is a constitutional issue. Anything with taxes is dealt with as the direct tax. And if it's a tax you can't ignore or get around, then it's an unlawful tax. And obviously, you're forced to pay this tax, otherwise they come with their guns and take your property away from you. And therein is the major problem. So your case shouldn't even go, it doesn't go to the lower courts, it doesn't go to the trial courts at all. They cannot hear it, they don't have the power or the authority to make a decision in this case. The New Jersey Supreme Court, they could hear it, but, it's problematic. I would go directly to the United States Supreme Court. I'm going to maybe write a paper on how to access and bypass the whole system on particular cases to go directly to the Supreme Court. Not that you're going to be heard by the Supreme Court. Again, there are doorkeepers there, and it's very difficult to get past them. It's like talking about a subject that they don't want to talk about, and so they kind of just ignore your case. But we'll try to knock on the door again and see once what we can have and what we get through to them. We'll see where we go with that. But that's what I would suggest. If you are going to go to the court, you definitely want to take a course, and you definitely want to go directly to the highest court in the land, because all these other courts really can't hear it. And I don't even think let me think about this a minute. The state Supreme Court, I don't think they have the authority to hear this case either, because it is a U.S. constitutional issue, and that's the jurisdiction of the United States Supreme Court. So it would be the wrong court to go to. All right, anyway, let me unmute you and see if you have anything else. Anything else, Frank?
Let me just, I got to unmute myself, sorry. No, it's just that what I really want to do is I want to work with you guys on what you're doing, and I want to find, and I want to get comfortable, because it's not so much taking the courses. Unless I pay a lawyer, it's performing in the court and having. You know how it is, John. You've been in there, and they throw curveballs at you.
Yeah, no lawyer will take on this case.
Yeah.
they'd lose their what they call a bar license, which is really just a membership to the club. You know, that's all it is. It's not a license. Practice of law cannot be licensed. Okay. But in any event, yeah, you're not going to get a lawyer who will pick up this kind of a case. He'll be so restricted in the positions that they would make, and they would at some point tell him, hey, that's it. You know, their license or their membership would be in jeopardy, and they won't be able to go into their courts. So it's a problem. It's a major problem. If people want to do this, they have to do it themselves. If you want to make a natural law position of any kind of a case, you have to do it yourself, because no bar attorney, no minion of the New World Order, because that's what they are. They're the minions of the New World Order, whether they know it or not. And most minions don't know that they're minions, by the way. So they don't. They're true believers of the lie. So
yeah, I understand, John. And look at the problem the DOJ's having. All these young lawyers, they don't want to join the DOJ because they don't want the bar and all these project whatever groups they are coming at them. But yeah, I just wanted to I'll do it. I'm going to do it, but I would like to help you guys a little bit and get my feet wet as I'm doing it, and then we're I'll feel a little bit better about it. But thanks, John. I appreciate it.
I appreciate that too. So anybody who wants to, chip in for our case that we want to take to get common law, let me say it, natural law, back into our courts and open up our courts of justice, because we don't have courts of justice anymore. We haven't had them pretty much as long as most of us have been alive. And so anybody who wants to help us out with that, financially speaking, go to the top right side of the website, hit the donation button, and just make a note in the donation. There'll be a place where you can put a note in. Just make a note that it's for the case before the Supreme Court. And again, we don't really need a lot of money. We're not lawyers. Nobody's making money here. We're just getting by and doing what we have to do to try to really save the republic, because only the people can save this republic. Trump can do what he can do and give it back to us, but the people have to know how to care for it and control it, and they don't know. And again, that's the purpose of National Liberty Alliance, to teach people that. Okay, thanks, Frank. We'll take our next caller. Okay, we have Anonymous coming up. I don't know why the buttons aren't working. Hang on a second. Try it again.
Good evening.
Okay, hang on.
Good evening, John. Hi. Can you hear me there?
We can hear you.
Okay, thank you. This is Elizabeth. I'm in Arizona.
I remember you. Familiar.
Yeah. Okay, and I've been studying. I've been trying to get my chops. It's kind of like running or anything. You have to start out and be patient. I have to, and then develop endurance. So
you have to start off with the lightweights and work to the heavies. But
yeah, right. So I just have a couple of things. First of all, and I'll try to be as brief as I can, because I know there's probably other people on the call. But I was getting interested in learning about the Committee of Safety. So I went on the website and I called the main number, and I talked to a gentleman there who wanted to have a discussion about the Bible and really kind of debate about the Bible. And I don't debate about the Bible. But I thought, well, and this guy is like, at the top of the list. And I'm not trying to put anybody in trouble or anything, but I was very disappointed. And it came to me that I thought, anyone on these committees of safety need to go through this course, because otherwise it's going to be like a bunch of chickens running around. And I mean, it needs a common definition of the purpose of being there, and there's no way that we could imagine. I couldn't imagine, what this is involving, because my mind has a tendency to make things up when it doesn't know, and actually my mind doesn't know much anyways, my heart. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that. I don't know if those people are vetted. I'm concerned because I'm sure this is an open forum, that there are Jesuits who come on this call. And they're going to be here. They always are. They're everywhere. And it's just something that we have to, kind of understand and not be threatened by them. But, and I'm not saying he was at all, but I'm just concerned about that. That might be something that, well, for me, it wasn't attractive. I thought, well, this is going to be crazy because, everybody's got their thing that's hurting them. And that's, and so one of the good things about the course is it keeps me focused on where I'm going instead of where I am. It helps me tolerate the situation I'm in because I'm seeing that I'm in a solution, and that's really important to me. So then the next. Go ahead.
Some of that. Look at creating committees of safety. It's up to the people. And one of the things we can't do is get involved with them. Now, if they're doing something that's going to put our entire movement into jeopardy, and we've had 2 or 3 incidents where that happened, and we had to do something, and we had to shut a whole group of people down, they can go do whatever they want, but they're not going to do it with us. Yeah. It's going to attract any group of any and that people might think have any power or authority, and committees of safety will have power and authority. You're going to draw the enemy. You're going to draw psychopaths and sociopaths. I understand a psychopath and a sociopath is the same thing, really. One is kind of learned through the environment, and the other one is born that way, I understand. The psychopath is born, the sociopath is created. So that's what I understand. But anyway, there are a lot of people out there, they just want to take control. They want to be the leadership, and they take people down their own road. They reinvent the wheel, and they do what they want. They throw up
roadblocks is what they do. That's all they have to do. That's all they have to do is throw up roadblocks. The only
thing we can do is hopefully someone else will put their name up there and get some meetings going. And if they can't get that person under control, to get rid of them. And I don't know if that person is a problem. They shouldn't be. I never debate the Bible. It's either people are going to take the word and research it to see once whatever is brought up is true or not. But debating is not where that goes. But they shouldn't be doing that anyway. This is about trying to take our government back. Of course, Christ is the King of our court, and we want to hold that up because that's natural law, which is what we're under. It's defined very clearly in the Declaration of Independence. But right on our front page, just so people understand how the Committee of Safety is put together and how it's supposed to operate, right down on the front page, if you come down below the NLA plan, and after a lot of presentments, you'll see National Liberty Alliance presents government by consent. And if you click on that, you'll get a video. I think it's about 35 minutes long. Try to keep it as short as possible. But in any event, a lot of these things you can't do too short. But it's an introduction, really, and it lays out the power and the authority of the people. It lays out the subcommittees that need to be created and how we could take back we don't get into the real deep details on how to take back the educational system, but we do cover a little bit of information. You have to have an education subcommittee. You have the main committee, which is the entire committee, everybody, but everybody belongs to a subcommittee, whether they want to belong to a subcommittee concerning the political process or the judicial process or the educational process, and a few others, and the militia, and a few others, and whatever other committee they want to create that's a necessity to deal with a problem within their county or within their state. And that's how we take back this country. This is how our founding fathers created the United States of America. This is how they brought us together, through the committees of safety. It was the committees of safety that came together from the colonies to decide on the First Continental Congress and the Second Continental Congress, and then to fight the war. They provided for the leadership and a temporary, I guess it's called a constitution, but a temporary constitution, I guess you'd call it, to that held over the Union until the debate of the Constitution after the war, and which you find in the Federalist Papers. If you really want to understand the Constitution, you should listen to the Federalist Papers and the Anti-Federalist Papers. Both of them are necessities. And so you get the arguments and you get the solutions and an understanding of the Constitution. But anyway, we the people have to do the same thing our founding fathers did. As a matter of fact, it's the committees of safety that maintain the control and the ability to have government by consent. But it was already being assaulted. George Washington spoke about this. He spoke and how they were trying to bring in factions, which is parties, political parties, and it divides the people. And one group, one person, or one small group of people will control the whole group of people, and therein is the political parties. They're destructive. They get nothing done. Look at all the work that Trump has done, just ignoring that whole process and trying to put pressure on the legislators to do what needs to be done. But he's exercised every power and authority he can as president, and he's made so many changes. I mean, he gets a problem and he hears about a problem and he deals with it right away and executes a solution and moves on. But these people are not interested in doing this. They're interested, again, in filling their own pockets to begin with, and just having power.
Yeah.
But it's going to be at every level. It's going, and you got to get rid of these people if you can't control them. Again, it's up to the people that come into the group to vote in their leadership, and and again, leadership is really not leadership from the standpoint that they make any serious decisions on their own. Everything is decided by the group, by the entire group of people that build that committee of safety. But you have to have a chairman, you have to have a co-chairman, and basically they're like traffic cops, maintain the process and keep things moving along, and then they should be involved in either the chair or the co-chair whenever other committees of safety on the county, on the state level come together to meet. Each county would send a representative, and that usually is the chair and or the co-chair, and then they bring back the information to the full committee. They don't get to make the decisions up there. They will come back to cast a vote after they discuss things with the entire committee, and then go back up to the state, cast their vote on whatever it is. And that's the way the process is supposed to work. Right now, that was subverted by the Committeeman process, which they statutorized, and they've taken this whole system over. We got to take it back, and it's called the Committeeman. It's called the Committees of Safety, but they are called committeemen because it's the real committeemen, the unelected committeemen, the committeemen who are coming to exercise their right of government by consent. To get into the other side, you have to go through their political process and get approved by the party bosses. And if you're contrary to the party bosses, ideas, you're not going to get in. And if you do get in, they'll keep silencing you. Eventually, they'll throw you out if you're really a patriot.
Well, it seems to me. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Oh no, I'm hearing echo now. Huh. It seems to me that we should be required to take the oath to the Constitution in order to be a member of the committee, and maybe that'll be a filtering thing. I mean, the thing is, we live in a time where everybody is on a different trail. I mean, the terms are not defined anymore, and people are arguing about different things, and they're yelling at each other, and it's like it's very ill. Our society is so ill. I don't know, but we need to take the oath. I mean, I don't see how that could even be an opinion. It seems to me like that would somehow set our hearts in a certain way, so we're at least looking at the same flag.
We did create that within the process, and it's an oath that we take to the governor of the universe. And as far as and of course maintaining the Constitution and upholding the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and of course the Declaration of Independence, which is the foundation of our law. Okay, that of course we need to do. But look at when you went to school, at least when I went to school, I'm sure when you went to school too, we took an oath every day. When we stood and pledged allegiance to the flag, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right. And so we pledge allegiance to the flag and to the republic for which it stands. Okay, so the oath, we're taking an oath every time we say the pledge allegiance, because we're focused in on the republic, and the republic is defined by the Constitution. And then of course we do set it up for the committees of safety, for every person within that committee of safety to sign the oath that they're going to be obedient to the governor of the universe, yielding to the governor of the universe, which again brings us under the laws of nature and of nature's God. So we've already set that up within it. But if you have an individual answering the phone and they're not really, they don't have a group of people working with them yet, there's no resistance or correction for them in order to bring them back under the control of what they should be under,
Yeah.
We can't control them. One of the things, we're not going to get involved in giving marching orders or anything of that nature to any of these committees of safety, because we can only teach them how to have a committee of safety. We can advise them if they want to come to us for advice. We've set up all kinds of, we've got a tremendous amount of information concerning the committees of safety. Under Start a Committee of Safety, if you highlight that bar, that tab on the top bar, blue bar.
You have a book too.
Yeah, we have handbooks and everything. But if you come down and you click on handbooks, videos, and tools, everything you need to know about putting together a committee of safety, structuring each part of the process, and we've written books in details, handbooks. We've done PowerPoints, videos, PDFs. We have things in words. We did a seminar, and you go through the whole seminar that we put together. There's lots of information, but it's up to the people. And it is a lot of information. I've been told it's a lot, very overwhelming, but look, at many hands make light work. No one is required to understand all this stuff and to soak in all this stuff. We all work together as a general committee, coming together trying to fix the problems. But then we get involved in our subcommittees, and we specialize in those subcommittees. You will have some people who will come in and master it all, and now you had a good advisor. But you got to be careful, because that individual, that particular kind of a position could be seeked out by some sociopath, someone. But you can tell them real quick.
Not if they're answering to God.
Well, not if we're answering to God. You can correct them. They're not going to be corrected by God, by the way.
Well, then they won't be there. That won't work. We're just another cult,
Correct them, and you can silence them and disempower them, and if necessary, get rid of them. Sometimes you got to get rid of people. I've been involved with different groups over the years, and people came in that were really prejudiced in certain ways and certain different groups of people. We eliminated the media. We don't want those people in. We ban them from coming in.
It seems to me, though, that many of us have pain we're living with. The people are in a lot of pain, and it's where they're at pain that's going to bring them to this kind of thing. Because if they're okay, it's just going to be entertainment for them, kind of thing. I'm talking about, the Declaration of Independence says we have to throw off things. We can't. God does it. But anyway, yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I just wanted to express that. Because you do have it on your website, and the phone number's on the website, and so. But I guess these people are not vetted, or there's no condition they have to have in order to have that phone number, right?
Yeah,
it could be anybody.
Yeah, what district and what state? You're talking Arizona, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what county in Arizona?
Oh, you mean where the guy was from? He was just at the top. It just said AZ.
Let me see, because I'm not seeing that. Let's see, Arizona.
I'm just speaking in general terms. I'm not qualified to do anything like that yet because I'm ignorant, but I'm working on it. It's just that it's not like trying to build like I said, a cult or any kind of little group that's I'm talking about individuals who are sovereign, who realize that they are responsible for their own souls, and they got their own feet, and they're putting on this armor that we've been given, and then that's how people could be effective, because we don't have to agree on everything, but we can agree on this, And that's the kind of, like the military make an oath. I mean, they give their lives. I think it should be a solemn oath. Our lives are our lives are our fortunes. I mean, that's where it's got to be. I mean, we're in a really unprecedented time, and we need to have something really like that. But that's just my view of it. I don't mean to go off on this too much, but
that's okay. This is what we're here for. Look, things are getting better, and they're going to continue to get better. There's no doubt in my mind or heart. I see what I've paid very close attention to Trump from day one, and I do believe this guy is really bringing this nation back to where we belong, and it's going to be greater than it ever was. I do believe that too. And he's picked the best people he could find. Anybody could find, for his administration. All these people have a heart for America. All these people are morally minded. All these people want to get rid of all this craziness and bring us back under the Constitution. The big problem, of course, is how much of the Constitution that they really understand. And so there's certain places they may be blind to. I don't know, because I don't know these individuals personally, so I can't say one way or the other. But I do know a lot of the good things. And look, Trump is talking about getting rid of a lot of judges, a lot of them. Well, our position, he needs to get rid of all of them. Okay, every federal judge has to be gone. They need to be taken. They need to be done away with. Maybe even put in jail, because look, they've been subverting the Constitution for a very long time. They closed the doors of justice. They're all complicit, every single one of them.
Well, even the county judges. The county judges are crooked too.
Absolutely, believe me, the state judges, all of them. But I'm talking about the federal level first, because if you can clean up the federal level, you can clean up the state levels.
Oh, I see.
Okay, because the law of the land is above all laws, no matter what they put in their state constitution. Nothing trumps the United States Constitution and the law of the land. So all of the lawful statutes and regulations that have written, people have to be obedient to, and every state has to be obedient to that because they agreed to that. As long as it's constitutional. If it's unconstitutional, they can say, hey, no. When the feds come into a county in a particular state, the sheriff has every right, and I wouldn't say right, because they don't have rights to this. They have authority. They have every part of authority to tell the feds, take a hike, get out of my county, don't come back in. Okay? When they come in to try to do anything concerning like taxes and alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, and they have no business there. And the chief law enforcer of the county is the sheriff, and he has that power and authority to cast them out. That was the case with Sheriff Mack. Okay, he worked with, I think it was 2 other sheriffs. I think there was 3 of them altogether, if I recall. And they took it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court agreed with them. They're the chief law enforcer of the county. But chief law enforcer of the county, unfortunately, doesn't understand their powers and authorities. They don't know the law of the land. They even do code violations. I mean, when you see a sheriff along the road giving someone a ticket, that's an abomination to the law. Okay? They shouldn't be doing anything like that.
Yeah.
But again, they're ignorant to the law. They don't know. We're all so ignorant. If a people expect to be ignorant and free, forget about it. It's not going to happen. And so, again, it takes time. And you'll fix your counties up if you can get a committee of safety going. I don't know whether I should call that person up or not, but they really shouldn't be trying to push people into a conversation.
Well, he had nothing the conversation went off that way, and the whole reason for the committee of safety is to talk about, building from the bottom up. That's and
what county is this?
It was in Arizona.
Yeah, but what county it has? Oh, Arizona County?
No, it's the top name on the list. It just says AZ.
Yeah, that's Arizona County, I guess. Is there a county?
I don't
Arizona?
know if there's an Arizona county. Yeah, I don't know.
What county are you in?
I'm in Yavapai.
Okay, there's no one, they have nobody that's creating a committee of safety in their county.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you think you wanted to do that, you can put your name and number.
Well, I've got to, how do I say, I've got to put the mask on, not the mask, a mask, but on the plane, you put the mask on your own face first before you put it on the child's, because I'm not qualified at this point, but I'm interested. I was looking for somebody to talk to about this stuff, and
you don't have to be qualified. You just have to be a person interested in doing something, and it starts off. Look, we're all ignorant in the beginning, and we accumulate knowledge.
No, it isn't that. It's just that I don't have the energy, and I'm injured. I'm been assaulted, and I don't want anybody's sympathy, but people come on this line and they are hurting really bad, and that's we've got to heal. And but yeah, I was looking over that. I'm interested, but I don't know, but I just thought I'd bring that up. I am interested in learning more about it, because I do believe that will, you get a handful of people who know the Constitution and are at, they're at peace with their God. And they realize that they're under a God that made the heavens and the earth, and they're not worried about that. They got their 100%. They'll let the Constitution have its 100%, and then we, that's when we could do things. But anyway, maybe it's nearer in the future than I think. Well,
look, the Lord said that before He comes. If you go into your Bible, it does say that nations will be judged before He comes. And they'll be judged in this world. And that's what's going on right now, as a matter of fact. Anybody paying attention, there's a change worldwide. This new world order and the deep state is not just affecting the United States. It's affecting every country throughout the world.
Yeah.
But anyway, going back to this Committee of Safety leadership here, if anybody wants to sign up, all they have to do is click on the directory and then find your state, choose your state, and then if there's no one that has a county, if your county doesn't have a leader there, you can just sign up. And you could do that by clicking on anybody that is watching the desktop, they can see it. And if you're not on the if you're on a phone and you're not seeing this, you can watch the video tomorrow. It'll be up on YouTube. It'll be up on Rumble. It'll be up on our website. But you can click on register, and then you can follow along there as we're doing. You can register or edit your COS here. You click on that button, and you'll come in here and you read the page very carefully. It'll give you the exact information you need on how to put your name, your first name, and your county. And the phone number. Nothing else is seen by people. They won't see email. And we tell people we don't want people to communicate by email. So you want to talk, get on the phone, because this has to be face-to-face stuff. Get together at coffee houses from time to time with a small group here or there until you develop enough people to say, okay, let's really start to form, the Committee of Safety on a monthly meeting and get more official. Meanwhile, you should be studying and watching these videos and figuring it out. But follow the instructions on this page, and you'll be able to once you click on, your first name will show up with your account in your state, with your county and your phone number under your state here. For instance, as I shown you in Arizona, I'll click on Arizona again. You click on that. We have 471 members in Arizona.
Really?
Yeah, and if anybody wants to get a list of those people, that if you sign up and get your name registered up here, we'll give you the list of everyone in your state by county. And particularly you want the people in your county first, of course. But you can call people in your sister counties and work with them. You can have 2 or 3 counties working together if you choose a place to meet that's reasonable for everybody. So you can actually be building 2 or 3 committees of safety at the same time, because you do want to work with your sister counties anyway as time goes on, because that's how things get done. We're not islands where one committee of safety is expected to do anything really that great outside of their county. You do a lot of work in your county, but you need to deal also with your state problems, your assembly, your congressman, your senator, You have to work together with the state, and at some point you work together with all the states, and all the states working together. And there's a process and a structure that creates that whole system of works in the handbooks that we've written. But anyway, we have 471 members in Arizona. We have a total of only 15 counties. Think about that. Someone that's really energetic, okay, and someone who is really organized. They're an organized individual, and someone who can articulate themselves well, and have a basic understanding of what we're doing by reading through our literature and our handbooks and stuff. They can get this whole state together in no time. If I wasn't doing a national level and I was on a state level, and I would take on the job of getting all 15 of these counties going, I would be talking to all 471 members here, seeing how many people I can get active, and so on. Here in New York, for instance, let's go back, and New York's a lot bigger. We have 62 counties. But for instance, here in New York, let me click on New York. We have 744 members. We have 62 counties, okay? And now here we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 counties where people are in the process of creating committees of safety. We have the contact information. But again, if people really want to really work their state, they can work the state. We can give them a list of all these members. We'll give them their first name and the phone numbers. And but we strongly suggest not to rely on communications through email. Email is good once you have your membership going, to send out a message of a reminder, hey, meeting coming up, don't forget this Tuesday or whatever, at certain time at whatever the place may be. Okay? Or basic information, but not to communicate as far as conversation-wise. You want to do that personally at the meeting. And subcommittees might meet between the monthly meetings just to discuss the business at hand that they're dealing with, whether it's working on the educational committee or the political committee or the judicial committee or whatever committee. Hey, let's get together, we'll meet you at the coffee, we're going to have a cup of coffee or whatever this morning or this evening, whatever the case may be. Or even get on the phones or some like Zoom or something to have conversation, doing the business at hand. But the monthly meeting needs to be in person.
Yeah. I had one other question, if I may, and then I should get off. I have a lot of questions, but I'm in the essentials on the course, and there was there's comments in here on it's about a mindset thing again, and this section just really, like, I thought, man, this is so much stuff. I was really wishing that we could go through every one of those, in the course, but that's okay. I'll just keep reading and maybe it'll click. But you mentioned that in the court that we can use the statutes on them,
Correct.
but they can't use them on us.
Correct.
So my question is, how would I, can you give an example of how I could throw this off, and claim, a different way for me when, they can, I'm just saying that I don't know what does that look like, to apply them to the other side, the statutes. I can take their statutes and put them on them, and I'm not affected.
Right, because you have to understand that the statutes are written in such a way, it's written for people who are operating commercial activities on the federal level, interstate commercial activities. And then it's written also for the individuals who are in power and authority. Okay, so depending on who you're talking to and what you're applying upon them, just to give you an example, Congress is under USC Title II. Okay, so you can use those statutes, and if there be any regulations there, you can use that in a case if you're going up against Congress. I mean, that'd be really a tough case to go up against. But generally speaking, these titles were written, for individuals that are working for the government in whatever agency they're working in, and they also are written for people who are operating in commercial activities. But all of them are under certain titles. For instance, they'd be under, let's see, let me think about this. I haven't thought about these titles in a while, but you see the title USC 18, for instance. Okay, they're under the statutes there, but we are not. They will apply statutes written under there against us because they start putting a lot of stuff in there to apply against the people as time went on, since they've destroyed our court system and our judicial, entire judicial system.
Yeah, so how would I deflect that particular thing they're trying to hold against me if,
Well, you're under common law. You're under, let's say, natural law. You're under natural law. You're not under statutes. And my position, and I bring this up into my cases from time to time also, is make the point: we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote for the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. And here's the key: do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States. I'm the lawmaker. I'm above the Constitution. These people are controlled. They're under the Constitution. We, the people, ordained. We established. We empowered them. They have no power or authority over us at all. They don't even have the power or authority in any court to make any decision on anybody who is not operating in some commercial activity, who is not operating in some government agency. Okay, they have no power, no authority to make any decision, any summary judgments on us in any courtroom in America. They don't have the power to fine or incarcerate the people in any of these so-called nisi prius courts. That's why they closed the courts of justice, because in the courts of justice, the people rule, not them. They get to decide nothing. There is no summary judgment. There is no decision by a judge on what evidence is going to come in or not. That's up to the people to decide whether they're going to accept an evidence that people bring in or not accept that evidence. It's not up to a judge. There is no judge to be sitting in a court of justice. Every judge is also a magistrate. Okay, so when a judge might sit in a court of justice, he's got to put on his magistrate cap, and he has no power, no authority, but to submit to the will of the people, the desire of what the people decide in that courtroom from the jury's perspective. And the jury gets to decide not only the facts, they get to decide the law. Not only the law, they get to decide the penalty, with an eye on restitution, not necessarily prison. Some people belong in prison because they're violent, but generally speaking, a lot of people don't belong in prison. They need to restore the person they injured. That's what they need to be doing. And maybe they got to control that person, put one of them legs on them, where they can know where they're at, maybe restrict their movements to some degree, or whatever the case may be. That's up to the jury to decide. But they've turned this whole system upside down. The minions of the New World Order destroyed our common law courts. They're not there no more. They closed the courts of justice. And these people now got to pay for it. Now these people got to be removed from their power, their authorities. They're destructive. And a lot of them, I think, need to go to jail. And I think some of them maybe need to end up at the end of a short rope. But that's up to the people to decide if it comes up against these individuals.
So the way I would be done is for me to correct them about where I am, and that what they're doing, it has no effect on me at all.
Well, yes, but again, look, if you want to stay focused on your case and you want to bring up certain powers and authorities to apply upon them when they're assaulting you or trying to move things in a direction that they shouldn't be moving, not that they're going to listen to you, not that you're going to win the case, but you can make the case. The case can be resurrected when we get our courts of justice back, okay? But again, it's a uphill battle. I don't want to let people think this is easy or let people think that they're going to win their cases. In most cases, they're going to lose them. Even though they have a righteous case and they put together a good case, these people don't care. I have filed a default judgment in a case I'm doing right now 3 times, on 3 different occasions, they defaulted 3 times, and the judge continues to let them come back into this courtroom. Now, I'm going to be taking this up the line as soon as I can, but they're dragging their rear ends on this, and they're trying to figure out what to do with me. And I think the judge is really worried because he's really shown that he is biased and that he's committing, well, what's the word I'm looking for? Let me think a minute. Committing a felony rescue. He's rescuing one of his fellow people because it's one of the individuals on a very high-ranking level in the state government, and he's protecting them. Okay.
Yeah.
And you know, look, and I'm going to appeal this case, and I'm going to take it up to courts, and I'll take it to the United States Supreme Court if I can get there, and I may lose all the way along the line, depending on the you know, the I don't want to say the mood, but the thinking, I guess, of these judges at some point in time when the hammer starts to come down on them, and they start to see judges go into jail, see judges removed from their authorities, and especially those who are violating the Constitution. It's going to shake them up, because you see, when I started off on this a little earlier on, the possibility, and I didn't have knowledge, that was the main problem, but the possibility of winning, and people were winning certain cases, because the judges, they did get a little fear here or there, so people did win cases. I'm aware of some people that were doing this and were really, truly winning cases. But, you know, but now they feel so protected that they're never going to be caught. They just do what they please. And then they even change, you know, they'll change the record. They'll remove information from the record. It's really disgusting. Total disgusting.
Well, thank you. I'll just keep. Yeah, I that's fine, and I appreciate everything you said. I'll let some other people talk, but
we got to move on because we do have a couple more people in the.
All right. Well, thank you, John. I yield.
Thank you. Okay, we'll take our next caller. Let's see. It is Terry. You got the mic. Go right ahead, Terry.
Yeah. Hi, I'm from Minnesota, and we're getting a big blizzard tomorrow here, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm sure you are.
Hey, I want to make something very overt. I don't want to argue with you or anybody here, and I don't want anybody to argue with me. I just wanted to throw out a couple seeds of what I consider to be truth or axioms. So, you know, in the conversation tonight, you know, you guys talked about, you know, property tax. I consider property tax to be property theft. Property tax is when you buy your house. You know, property theft is every year you got to give somebody here money. They force it out of you. Any money that's forced is not a tax. It's theft. It's extortion. So that's what I wanted to say first, because Frank was talking about property tax. The 3 seeds that I kind of want to just plant, and, you know, if you guys want to ask me more about it, great. If you don't, that's fine with me too. But here are my 3 seeds. We have the inherent people's judicial order to be defended when innocent. That's my first order. The second order is what's called a relief order, when the innocent are violated either, you know, deliberately or with extreme negligence. Our servants are ordered to give us relief for those damages. And then the third one is the one that I'm going to call treason. It's the servant orders, what you guys are referring to as statutes. I refer to them as servant orders. I'm going to write an order that says if you own a home, I can steal money from you. I'm going to write an order that if a mother wants to, you know, sanction the murder, we're going to sanction the murder. That's our order, is we're going to sanction the murder of mothers being able to take the right to be born and get rid of that right to be born and take that away. That's a servant order. So is extortion. They're sanctioning extortion. And then the third thing is the relief demand. And that relief demand is when you are violated. That's the job of the servant to go through and give us that relief. You know, if you're raped, you know, we're supposed to go after the person who did the rape, not go after the victim. And I've got like a 5-page paper here. I would love to have people look at it. If they don't, that's fine too. I've done about 200 filings. I've done it with the Supreme Court. I've done it with locals. I've done it with the sheriffs. I've done it with all my county employees. I've given them a chance to recant, to say, hey, you guys are writing laws to literally extort yourself. Why are you doing this? Why are you writing laws to say I can murder my own offspring? Why are you writing laws that say I can steal from you if you own a home? And that's where I'm coming with the 3 orders. I know this might seem to be an affront, but I really, when I say I don't care, I don't mean it in a negative context. The Constitution isn't important to me as the right to be born and all my rights, my freedoms. The Constitution is more so to me a Bill of Rights, and then it governs how our servants are supposed to follow our order to defend us when we're innocent. And they're not. What they're doing is they're going through and they're violating the innocent. They're saying, hey, I'm going to go through and steal from you. And the last person that was on here, she's absolutely right. We're being oppressed as a nation, and we're oppressing ourselves. The only people that are doing financially well right now are the politicians that sanction these crimes. And when you sanction a crime and you go through and you defy the order to defend the innocent, that is literally the definition of treason. The treason that they accept, the servant orders, is if another country attacks America. The problem is our servants are attacking America. They're attacking the innocent. They're not defending the innocent. They're attacking the innocent. It's literally a war by our government servants. Our neighbors are literally attacking us. And so that's why my focus, I'm just saying these are my 3 seeds that I want to plant with you guys, is that we have 3 orders. Defend the innocent, give those guys relief. It's called relief demands. And we have 5 different type of relief demands. We have shadow relief demands. We have extraordinary relief demands. We have public relief demands, and we have private relief demands. And then we have the last one, which is the emergency shadow docket. Those are the 5 different types. But our nation doesn't even know what these relief demands are anymore. In fact, they want to get rid of them. They want to get rid of the shadow docket relief, and they want to get rid of the emergency shadow relief docket. The Supreme Court wants to get rid of them because they don't even know what they are. And what they are is when our nation, our judicial system is literally going out and defying the order to defend the innocent, and they're going and writing orders to say, I'm going to violate the innocent in the courts, I'm going to violate them in the womb, and I'm going to violate the innocent in public. And, you know, I hope that you guys understand what I'm trying to bring forward. It's not something that I'm saying I'm right and you guys are wrong. I'm just saying this is what God has laid on my heart for the last 2 years. I've gone to jail because I made a highway patrolman stand by the road too long. That was their order. And then the other one is because I used a word that they didn't like at the DMV, and that was, you know, I went to jail for the first one, and the second one was disorderly conduct because they told me I was too stupid to read at the DMV, and I called them buttholes, and that was jail time, and I'm on probation until December 31st. And so I got tired of my servants telling me I'm too stupid to read or putting me in jail because I make them stand by the road too long when they give me a ticket. And that's literally what happened on both of them. Our judicial system has become so not corrupt, so ignorant of what the judicial order is. And that's what I've done here. I've done the Supreme Court. I've done the Minnesota Appeals Court. And now I'm actually going to write the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, as my next, what I'm going to do here next. I'm going to send her a notice and a declaration that they're defying the order to defend the innocent. And so that's what I have to say. I don't want to take up anybody's time unless they want to hear more what I have to say.
All right. Well, if you have a paper you'd like to share, you can send it to mail, M-A-I-L, at nationallibertyalliance.org. And leadership will get that, and if anybody wants to read that, they'll look at it. If I get the time to take a look at it now. But I'd like to respond to some of the things. I don't know that I heard anything that I necessarily disagree with. We might have a disagreement on how to solve the problem, but look at you're talking about the innocent, you're talking about the relief, you're talking about the servant. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty, but they don't treat us that way, and that's a problem because they're evil. And I don't even know if they know that they're evil. Some of them call themselves Christians, some of them go to church, but their heart is far from the Lord. There's no doubt about that. As far as relief is concerned, the common law requires restitution to the injured party. For every injury, there must be a remedy. It's a natural law. What would you call a maxim? Okay. And as far as the servant, particularly, we need to bind them down with the chains of the Constitution. And the chains of the Constitution also gets into the necessary statutes and regulations that control a particular individual that you're dealing with. The solution to the problem is a hard pill to swallow. It takes education in order to understand the problem, and major changes have to be made. We are so far off base of the Constitution and who we are as a people when we were first come together as a nation, some 200 and some odd years ago. And major changes need to be made. They have made the changes little by little. They've turned our republic into a democracy. Okay, that has to change. There's not an inkling of democracy in our political process and that which was set up by the Constitution. Not one. Our founding fathers despised the democracy. They wrote about the problems of democracy. A democracy, the purpose of a democracy ultimately is to create an oligarchy. It's the first step to an oligarchy. The people think that they have something to say. They have nothing to say. They're ruled by a small group of individuals. George Washington spoke about this. He made the point very clear that parties will destroy this nation, that a small group, a handful of people will take control and move the whole system to do their will and not the will of the people. When you look at Congress and you see something like, Trump is trying to push some legislation through, and of course the legislators that are on the side of righteousness and the Constitution trying to push certain things through to say, hey, look, they're taking billions of dollars. When you put it all together, it's trillions of dollars are going to crazy things and ultimately spending money to destroy America. We got to stop that. And you got an entire political party refusing to fix that problem. They want to continue to steal the money off the people and put it into their own pockets because there's a payback on that to begin with. They all become millionaires, every single one of them, and then they put money to people who are destructive to who we are as a nation. Okay, you have this problem in Minnesota with the what is it? I'm not even sure. I remember how to pronounce it.
Somalis.
Somalis. Okay, you got that problem. Look at, I heard the sheriff talk. I fell off my seat listening to this guy talk. There's no republic there. The republic that they may have or anything they have is some craziness and a religion that they follow and a law that they want to follow, which is anti-constitution, anti-Christian, anti-moral, raising up a false god to lead them through the whole process, ultimately what that's all about, okay? And look at, they should all be removed because they have went and violated the focus of the Constitution, that is that we are a republic. It is anybody elected to office, it is their job to make sure and secure that the people have a republican form of government, not a Somali form of government, not a communist form of government, no other government other than a republic, a natural law republic. The foundation of our law is under the rules of nature, under the laws of nature and of nature's God. Okay? And until we get rid of parties, we will continue with the same process. Imagine this. Parties are gone. You elect a representative. There is no party boss. There's no one behind the scenes saying, hey, we got to get together, we got to do this, we got to do that, let's go in one accord and let's say no. No, that's gone because there's no more party. Guess what? They have two choices. They only have one choice, really. I'm there to represent the people, my constituents. Let me vote according to the will of them, because that's what they should be doing. Okay? They should be going back to their people, getting a feel for what their will is on certain issues, and represent the people that put them into the power, okay, to go and legislate law. But that's not happening, and that'll continue to go forward, will continue to be more destroyed as time goes on. And then we have the court system. You know, we have Thomas Jefferson said, it's the judges that's going to destroy this nation. We're going to be destroyed by the court system. And it's exactly what happened, because the Bar Association moved in. They moved into this nation before we even became a nation. They moved into here in 1750 for one purpose and one purpose only, to control the colonies. They were out of hand, out of control, because they were upholding the common law, the natural law, because that's the law that was in the courts in 1750 and before that. And that's why they sent bar attorneys for the purpose to destroy this our judicial system. And eventually, of course, they created the American Bar Association, which is still bar-registered individuals. They're esquires. They have they come with a title. And in the original 13th Amendment that they removed and just got rid of, and they just hid it, okay? But the original 13th Amendment says that if you take a title and hold a title from a foreign entity, you cease to be a citizen of the United States and can never hold a position of honor in this nation, in this country. Throw them out. Get rid of them. Look at all these people that are holding up some other thing other than the republic that which we are. They can be thrown out. We can remove their citizenship and cast them out of our country. Trump is right. He's not making a point this way, but he is making a point. We have to change. We have to get back to who we are as a people. And as long as these people come into our nation and come together in large groups and start to change the mindsets, our morality, the king of the court, and all these things, okay, we need to do something about that. We're being assaulted by enemies, foreign and domestic. And I'm telling you, these people in power, in authority that's behind this, and this includes the news media, they, in my opinion, they all need to hang. All need to hang. Minimum go to jail. I mean, look, that's up to the people in a court of law to make the decision after they hear all the facts. Okay? And I haven't heard all the facts, but I've heard enough to know there is a problem and it needs to be dealt with, and some of them need to end up in the end of a short rope. Some of them need to go to jail for 20 years or whatever it is that is necessary to do. Some of them need to be cast out of this country. They shouldn't be here. Some of them need to lose their citizenship. They all need to be stripped of everything they have, because everything they had they stole. But only the people can fix this problem, and it can only be fixed by people who have an education. They have to understand we have to change our courts to bring it back to where we are. They have to understand that we have to uphold the king of our court, which is Jesus Christ, that the juries are to uphold him, the governor of the universe, his morals and his truth and the law that he put into our hearts. We already know what's right and wrong. God already wrote it in the hearts of men. Only the psychotics, the psychopaths don't know, or don't. Maybe they know and understand it, but they don't have a heart. They're just self-focused and just care about only themselves. But in any event, okay, this is the things we have to do. It's a hard thing to do, because we have to get the people who have hold of power and convince them that we've been on the wrong path, that everything that lawyers have been taught as far as the foundation of their thinking as far as law is concerned is wrong. And yet, how are you going to get them to believe that? That's an uphill battle. You got to get rid of them all. They got to go. And so we have a major problem, but only the people can fix it. The only way they can fix it is government by consent. Government by consent has to be learned. That's what we teach here. And the other thing about government by consent is that once you have the people working together, you have to have people working in a county, county to county, state to state. And once you have that going, We can do anything, correct any problem, remove anybody from office, whether it be a judge or any person elected, an elected individual. The only individual that the people would have a hard time trying to remove from office, we can indict though, but they can't be, held liable till after they leave office, and that would be the president. Okay. But if you have a good Congress, a Congress that's not controlled by political parties, not controlled by party bosses, and is willing to do the right thing and to be obedient to the Constitution and provide for us a government that is in line with the Constitution. A government that will. Let me just look at this and read this a little bit. This is the preamble to the Constitution. A government that truly will establish justice, because they haven't established it, they destroyed it. They're a government that is to ensure domestic tranquility. They've destroyed that. They've demoralized our children. They don't know nothing about who we are as a people. They think communism is the way to go, okay, because they don't know anything about a natural law republic at all. They don't know about our courts and the king of the courts. They're supposed to provide for the common defense, and they were destroying that. Thank God Trump has come in and fixed that problem. And they're supposed to promote the general welfare. They're creating chaos and destruction. They're supposed to secure the blessings of liberty. This is written right here in the orders by we the people of the United States. We the people established this Constitution, and we the people ordained this Constitution, and we told them that they are there to secure the blessings of liberty. And they're not doing any of these things. There's 6 points. Anything they write, anything they do is to fulfill one of those 6 points. And they fulfill none of them. So, but anyway, everything you said, I can't find any disagreement. It's on the paper, and we'll take a look at that, whoever wants to read it, and we'll see once where that might go. But a final word or two for only a minute. We've got 2 more people in the queue. And
half a minute at the most. I've tried to reach Trump, and I've written to his attorneys that were in there. Had he known what the eternal God-given order to defend the innocent was, he wouldn't add 15 counts of felonies for not violating a right. And that's the problem. How you can find an innocent person guilty is, it's an oxymoron, and that's what they're doing. They're writing orders to make the innocent guilty, and that's what they did. They targeted Trump. They targeted me for making somebody stand by the road too long, and that's what this is. They're writing their own orders, and they're picking. Here's what I want to say, my last thing. Our servants are picking and choosing which innocent person to violate and which innocent person to defend. And if you get that concept, that's exactly what this judicial system is. The judicial system always defends the innocent. A treasonous judicial system will go through and not defend the innocent, but they will choose to violate the innocent, and they will defend themselves when they are guilty of violating the innocent. So that's what I would leave everybody with.
They would maintain the status quo. That's the problem we're up against. But look, we can fix this problem. In order to fix this problem, I don't know I do know that there's no one else out there teaching what we teach here. We've got a full, a course here of information, so to speak. I mean, we cover so many different things and all of the problems that we have in this nation. And I'm sure there's some we haven't, covered, but when we discover them, we will cover them. But the thing is we need to get critical mass. Critical mass will give us a large movement of committees of safety across America, and then we can see some real serious change and protection of our country, of our nation. But until the people wake up, decide to get educated and do the right thing and get involved and support some of the things we're doing financially, and also support us by bringing more people here to hear the messages that we have and to find out what it is that we're doing and how we're building these committees of safety. Until we get that critical mass going, we're not going to be able to fix this problem. But I got to move to the next caller. Right? Appreciate
it, you guys.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Have a good Thanksgiving. Have a good Christmas too, guys.
You too. Okay, let's take our next caller. It is, let's see, Walt, New York Walt. Go right ahead. You got the mic.
Yes, good evening, John. Let's see if I can say this right now. The law, truth, and justice, it was the same in the past, it's the same today, and forever. It's never going to change. And only certain people can enforce that. Look through the scriptures from cover to cover. They were able to enforce those principles and those laws in truth and justice. So if you had somebody like King David or Jesus today, not before he was crucified, today, and he had to send in a paper to the court and they're going to answer like they do, totally corrupt, John, what do you think King David would say back to the judges?
Well, look, his justice is coming. It's coming soon. And he is the judge of the universe. And
I know, but what would he say?
What
did they say back in the day? What did David say to these crooked people? This is like it was the same yesterday, today, and forever. So they had to deal with the same corruption back then. This Genesis 3:15, the seed of the serpent versus the seed of the woman. That's good versus evil. So what? How did they deal with? Remember when Almighty God Yahweh said to Ezekiel how to deal with these crooked people? Here's what he said. He says, "Give them warning from me, or else." They've had it. So that's what we have to do. Represent the Almighty and His kingdom on earth. Go into courts besides the constitutional. Remind them they must comply with that. You tell them what's the foundation of the Constitution. It's Almighty God. It's His law. And you go in there as one of His sons. Every single person in the Bible that defended God was one of His sons. So if you're not one of His sons, you have no power. You're going to just play the game with the devil in that courtroom.
Remember,
they won't answer you.
Remember, Satan is prince and power of the air. He's the prince of this world. He's the prince and the controller of the conversations of this world. And God said at the end it would be like Sodom and Gomorrah. And we're there. When you look to see what goes on in these schools, you see what goes on in these in the justice system. You see what's going on in the political system, and all of this evil and corruption and stuff. There's no doubt, and we've lost the control of the morals that should be taught in school. Look at the whole thing really started to go really down the moment in the day that we removed the Bible from school in 1963, I believe it was.
Right.
That's when things were falling apart before that, but at least the morals was in the schools, and people knew there was a problem. I remember being young and hearing the conversations of the adults and a few things stated here and stated there. It was a whole different world, a whole different mindset. And my parents were not intellectual in any way, but they were involved, and they knew and watched and saw what was going on. But we've lost all that. And it's got to be rebuilt, but that's a lot of work. Look, you got 1 minute.
John, one more thing about that last caller. He got arrested for calling an officer a butthole, right? Remember that? You heard him say that. Okay. Yeah. I already told you in the past. When I was in the court, I got arrested for this. I didn't say it like that. I told the cop because he would not follow the laws. I said, the Almighty's going to kick your butt. I said ASS. I was arrested for that, but when it went through the courts, told the judge the same thing. He's going to take you behind the woodshed if you don't follow. He's the boss.
Yeah,
not your statutes. They hid the case. They dropped the whole thing. They had no jurisdiction because Yahweh was in the courtroom, warning them, you're not going to continue with this corruption. Now, I'm not telling you. My Father's telling you, you're not going to get away with it. That's what's missing. We have to go through there representing God's kingdom. We tell them who we are.
Yeah,
I am a son of God. I say the Lord's Prayer. I'm a son of God, and by His law, He's telling me to tell you, you need to stop it, or He's going to remove you from the face of the earth. You tell the judge just like that.
Right. Well, most of these people, they have no fear of God. They don't care. They
have no fear because we don't say that.
But I hear what
you say that, they'll become afraid because they can't. What you're doing is.
I think you got to be a little careful in how you go about approaching it. Look, we do make certain points, especially through memorandums in the court, and we support a lot of our positions and things by U.S. Supreme Court quotes, by Founding Father quotes, and other great people's quotes, and also Bible quotes. So. But again, how you approach it and how you deal with the courts, you do have to be a little careful in the courts because these people are really lost. But with that, I got to move on because we only got a couple of minutes, and I'd like to give it a minute
All
or
right.
two.
Good night.
Thank you. Okay, Ross, you got the mic. Only got a minute or two. Sorry. And
John,
yes.
should I do like meet the county to meet people to before setting the committee of safety up, and then Clackamas County?
Yeah, start all over. I didn't get all that. Something about the Committee of Safety. What about
Meet the county means meeting people in the county where I live to before setting up the committee of safety.
Okay, something about before setting up the committees of safety to people in the county, but I'm missing the point. What's the question?
It's MEET, meeting the county.
I still don't understand what you're saying. The meeting of the county.
Meet the people or citizens of Clackamas County.
Okay. Yep.
Before setting up the committee of safety. Should I set a thing like?
Can you set
like
what?
that? Should I set the thing up to meet the county?
Can you set it up?
Yes.
Of course you can. Look at the first thing you want to do is try to find some other people who are interested in what we're doing. You send them to the NLA, tell them to watch the video, the first video on the front page, so that they can see what the committees of safety are all about. And if you can get them interested, maybe one or two people, you could meet at any time, any place, in a coffee house somewhere, sit down, have coffee, or at a diner or something, spend an hour or two talking, making plans, thoughts and ideas, bringing more people to those meetings as time goes on, and then eventually start to do some real structure as you're communicating, planning, and learning. And then, you have 10 or 15 people or whatever the case may be, and you start having regular monthly meetings and get structured in a process that the way the committee should be flowing. And we lay all that out through handbooks and information, but it all starts with that first video on the front page.
Okay, is 8 o'clock.
Something about 8 o'clock?
Is it 8 o'clock right now?
I'm not understanding you. Try it again.
I said it's 8 o'clock right now. I hear it right now.
Oh, you're saying it's 8 o'clock for you right now. So you're yielding? Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that because it's just 1 minute after 11 here. But let's take Mark for a couple of minutes and then we'll end our program. All right. Thank you, Ross. Okay, Mark, you got the mic and you only got a minute or two. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay, John. I just got just 1 minute here. This is Mark from Indiana. I'm the one talking about the sewer district here.
Right.
And Mary Ann talked last week and wanted to know she had some information and wanted to talk to me. I tried to get with her, but I guess her number that it's on NLA is not valid anymore. But if she's on this call and she wants to talk to me, she can just go to NLA. She can find me through the Indiana directory.
All right,
Okay.
and if you got enough information on her, you can get a hold of Jan and ask Jan if you can get her email, so you can send her an email with your phone number and give her the information concerning your past communications and you'd like to talk or whatever. But okay, now they got. You want to give your email address? I see you got it online here right now. Do you want me to give it?
Yeah, it's mcad3d@yahoo.com.
Okay. All right. I guess we're brought to the end, Mark. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we've come to the end of our program. And Lord willing, we'll see you all next Monday. Thanks for coming.